Hi folks, I'm the professor, Dr. Chris McCusker, and welcome to another episode in the Quarantine Management Institute, where we are learning to learn in new ways together. This episode concerns virtual teams. In this episode, I identify 3 broad challenges of virtual teams, and I'll give you an advice also, a recommendation about how to solve those challenges. There's some research on virtual teams, not a lot. I think we are learning quite a bit as we go here. The 3 challenges I'd like to talk about are number 1, structure. Let me go back. Number 1, let's call rapport and relationships number 1. We'll call structure number 2, and we'll call information number 3. Challenge number 1 is rapport and relationships. When we are in a face-to-face or what we call a co-located team, we're located in the same time and space together, we can establish rapport. This is a French word, and it has to do with emotional connection. Emotional connections, or establishing rapport, is very important because it coordinates us on mutual cooperation. So those few minutes before we have a team meeting, or the chit-chat we have over lunch, or over coffee by the water cooler, or what have you, all those informal little interactions help us establish rapport, R-A-P-P-O-R-T, rapport, and that coordinates us on mutual cooperation. That's under threat with a virtual team. We just don't see each other. We don't have the opportunities to just chat for a few minutes and feel good about being human beings together and working in the same company together. And that is an important issue, because we coordinate on mutual cooperation when we talk around the water cooler, have lunch together, go for a walk on our break, or all of those informal social things we do. The second issue that we have to think about in my analysis when we think about a virtual team is structure, the team structure. We are in new territory, and a crisis disorients, and now we're doing things virtually with working at home and then reporting back, and all of the problems that have to do with the team structure. What are the tasks? What do we do as a team? Who does which teams? Which people work together on an issue? All of those things have to be defined again based on a virtual team environment. We have to redefine our tasks and the assignment of those tasks to people. We have to redefine people to people, which people are working together on tackling different issues. So the structure, the roles and responsibilities have to be rethought. Virtually every aspect of the team infrastructure has to be analyzed and thought through in the new context of a virtual team. It is a different skill set and different type of person who's going to thrive in a virtual environment. I really like working alone, but I really need to have structure. And when I'm off on my own without structure, I don't do as well. We have to have structure. We have to have different roles and responsibilities. Tasks have to be defined. Subgroups assigned to tasks. We have to manage the structure of the team. The third issue that I think is important for us to address with a virtual team is information. A lot of information exchange happens informally. You walk down the hallway and say, look, I'm stuck on this problem. I've got colleagues, for example, at universities. When I resigned as a professor, and I'm doing the Quarantine Management Institute now. But one thing I do miss in this environment of virtual teaching, I miss my colleagues. Somebody I can go down the hall and knock on the door. Hey, Mike, how you been? Talk to him and get his advice about an article to read, or I will name out all my colleagues I miss, but it's an issue. So I'm kind of experiencing this now, which is information, and I've reconnected with people I've known over the years, and I've sort of talked to other people, and I've gotten the information I need. I've done interviews with people and so on, but it is a different way of operating in a virtual environment than a collateral environment. So we have to think about how we get the information we need in a timely way in order to address the issues that we're working on. You can't walk down the hallway and see someone, but you've got to nonetheless get information from somebody you're working with, share information, and so on. I think the solution to all these problems is basically the solution of delegating to the team. You can't wait for people like me to figure out all the problems of a virtual team and write articles. It's too late. Expertise right now is being formed through experience. And your team is experiencing issues, and the team has got to get comfortable with coming up with its solutions to its problems. So I would direct, as a recommended way to handle these issues of rapport, structure, and information, I would direct the team to focus on them and to build a team infrastructure. We're going to assign 3 folks to address the issue of rapport and keeping our positive emotional connections going, even though we're virtual. Maybe they come up with that. We're going to have a happy hour every Thursday. Everybody can have a libation and tune in to have a conversation. Or maybe we'll do a lunch. Every Monday we'll do a lunch where one person will make a short presentation showing 3 pictures of their family or friends or what's happening in their personal life, and then we'll all eat lunch and we'll share. And we'll take turns doing that. But we'll have to find a way to connect emotionally, and I think it's best delegated to certain members of the team. Hopefully, if you're the team leader, you know the strengths and weaknesses of the members of the team and who would embrace this and handle this task in an effective way. The same is for structure. I don't like the idea of rules. Rules are sticky. I like the idea here of policies. There should be a designated subgroup to come up with policies for the team, for managing the team in this virtual environment. What is expected as far as text messages, emails, and phone calls? How long should we say is the policy for getting back to someone when you get a text or a phone or an email? Is there a certain time during the day where everybody must be available to have a Zoom meeting or a Skype meeting or a Google Meets meeting? We have to set up those policies. We have to structure the team. They can think about the tasks. What tasks are falling through the cracks here? What are we forgetting about? What's around the corner? But we've got to delegate to members of the team the problem of creating structure. A team without structure is tyranny, to quote a well-known article on structurelessness. Lastly, information. Again, I think the problem should be delegated to a subgroup or members of the team. How do we keep information? Do we have a Google Doc that everybody can access where we put information? Do we have policies around information exchange? We've got a text message that's red. If it's red, you got to get back immediately. If it's blue, you get back sometime later that day, or email. But how do we keep the information exchange flowing when we don't have the informal interaction? I think the team has to set its own policies and build its own infrastructure to address all 3 of those issues: rapport, structure, and information.